Hey everybody, welcome back to AI Plays Nintendo. As you can see, I'm recording this around Christmas time. It's actually early January 2022 right now. And sorry for the screen flickering. I think it's being caused by these LEDs. But I wanted to record here by the tree so that I can show you this.
Haha, clumsy human.
Obviously, it's a replica of an original NES system, and it does this. It's applicable because I actually got one of these for Christmas when I was a kid. And this video is all about Super Mario Bros. 3, which is the game that came packaged with the Nintendo when I got it for Christmas when I was a kid. I have tons of footage recorded now of Playfun playing Super Mario Bros. 3. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you indisputable proof that Playfun has achieved sentience and has made it its mission in life, its purpose for existence, to make me clinically insane.
No way, man. I'm trying to achieve world peace. Driving you to madness is just a fun side effect.
I almost did go crazy with this project. It drove me insane for quite a number of reasons, but I'm glad I did it. I have learned a ton about how Playfun and LearnFun work.
Speaking of which, here's a quick recap of how these programs work. LearnFun and Playfun are a pair of programs created by Tom Seven, who set out to create an AI system that would take a generalized approach to playing games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The software was not designed to play a specific game, rather it can play any game that can run on the NES. LearnFun, short for Learn Function, is given a set of training data, which is basically a series of inputs made by a human player playing a given game. LearnFun uses this data to determine, among other things, a set of objectives that it thinks represents progress being made through the game, and a library of input sequences called motifs. This information is given to Playfun, short for Play Function, which actually plays the game and tries to achieve the objectives that LearnFun has given to it. That's a very basic overview. If you want more detail about how it all works, you can find links to Tom's website and YouTube channel in the video description.
LearnFun and Playfun are both fantastic and terrible at playing Super Mario Bros. 3, and I'll show you why in a minute, but first I'll list the predictions that I went into this with.
Actually, with all due respect to past me, I'm only going to tell you about the biggest prediction I had right now, just because this intro is already getting way too long. The one big prediction I had going into this project was that Playfun would not be able to get past World 1-2, specifically because of this situation right here. To get past this requires a big jump onto the question block, and then another big jump up onto the horizontal pipe. Now, a maneuver like that isn't normally a problem for Playfun. What really makes this difficult is this pit right here. If this wasn't here, I'd have had some faith that Playfun would eventually find the right inputs to get over these pipes, but pits seem to confuse the program a great deal, and it'll often jump Mario down them, seemingly intentionally. And part of the reason why, as demonstrated by Tom Seven, is Mario can keep moving to the right after jumping down a pit, which it may misinterpret as making progress, or for some reason think is the best option it has available. At very least, that was the case in Mario 1, and Playfun has very similar problems with pits in Mario 3. So I figured there was a high likelihood that Playfun would choose the pit here instead of trying to find an input that would actually let it get past the obstacle. We'll find out in a few minutes. Comment now whether or not you think I was right about this, and let's get started. As the curtain rises on Mario and Luigi for their epic stage adventure, I'll jump right into the AI gameplay. I will explain the training data that I used in a minute. We're off to a promising start already, though. Playfun mucks around a little bit, but gets right into the level very quickly, and just kind of blasts through this first part of the level like an absolute pro, the kind of gameplay we've come to expect. Like I said, it's the kind of gameplay we've come to expect from Playfun.
Do I detect a hint of derision?
You know, I am just growing to accept that you're going to randomly throw lives away in pits now and then. Do you want to explain what's going on here, though? There aren't going to be any more items in your inventory, no matter how many times you check it.
I just love that sound. It's so soothing.
Those of you watching may want to get used to this sound, too. We're going to be hearing it a lot. Initially, I did predict that Playfun would have a little trouble navigating the overworld map. And as you can see, that is coming to pass, but not for the reasons I expected. What's happening is that Playfun is repeatedly mashing the B button, which opens that item menu. If you had any items in there, you'd be able to equip them here on the world map. But while that menu is open, you're unable to move Mario because the direction keys are assigned to moving a cursor within the menu itself. But here's the really weird part. Playfun's not trying to move Mario while the menu's open. If it was, you'd hear a beep sound effect that is the sound that the game makes when you're moving the cursor within the menu. I figured that actually entering a level is the only feedback that PlayFun would get about whether or not it was going in the right direction on the map. So I figured it would make random movements until it found one. But if the inputs it makes on the map are entirely random, I would expect to hear that beep sound effect because it would be pressing the direction keys while the menu's open. So this is a mystery to me. I don't know why it's not pressing directional inputs while the menu's open. I don't know why it's opening the menu in the first place. I don't know what feedback it's getting from doing that tells it that it's a good thing to do. By the way, check that out. Boink, boink, boink. Gets a nice points boost for bopping all 3 Goombas like that. And there's another awesome move coming up here. Just threads the needle between those blocks and lands on the other side of the pit. That would be a very difficult maneuver for a human being to pull off. And here's something from earlier. You're going to see some expert enemy dodging here. PlayFun's obviously learned what it needs to do in general, which is enter a level, move to the right, avoid touching enemies unless you're bopping them, get coins, get points, and just keep moving to the right.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass and I squish a few of them.
For some reason, I thought PlayFun would have trouble finding the goal at the end of the level, but that was a pretty silly concern. What?
Wait for it.
Why did you pause?
Wait for it. Doing.
Okay, could you do me a favor and never make that sound again?
What sound? This?
So as you're going to see right here, PlayFun has no trouble with the menu this second time around. It just blasts into that second level. And we're about to see whether or not my prediction about this level was correct. To my genuine surprise, PlayFun had no trouble with this at all, which, in my mind, is just a tribute to the elegance of Tom's program. The way that LearnFun and PlayFun work when, it's a game that it's well suited for and is given good training data, it can play really, really well. At least really well, for a computer program. Now,
wait a minute. What are you saying?
I'm saying that human beings would have a hard time doing this, but wouldn't stand there doing this. I also want to point out this. I want everyone to keep this move in mind. It's going to be important later. Anyway, I think the most elegant thing about this is that I gave the program some very normal training data. In other words, I didn't try to do anything special. I didn't try to do anything fancy. I really played Mario 3 the way that I would normally play it. I collected power-ups, I bopped enemies, I went and found a few hidden one-ups that I knew where they were. One involved flying upward in the first level. Obviously, PlayFun didn't mimic that behavior, but if I showed you the training data, you'd probably just think, oh, it's just ordinary gameplay of Mario 3, of the first 2 levels, and then the first bit of the third level. Now, you're probably wondering what's going on here, and the reality is, I don't know. The program just got stuck here for a while. I just can't figure out how to get up this hill and up on top of that pipe for some odd reason. You can see it, while it did lose its leaf power-up, it does do a pretty good job of avoiding the fireballs that this plant is spitting. So it's trying to stay alive, which is good, but I don't know if it's the box or if it's the slope that's giving it trouble. We saw slopes earlier that it didn't have trouble with. Oh, here we go. Maybe not. Yes? No, maybe? No? Okay, there we go. Okay. Good, we're through. And now, it decided to make friends with these little mini Goombas. Some of the weird quirks that happen during gameplay, there are times when it just does some very odd things and just leaves me scratching my head about what it's actually trying to do. Often I can only speculate. I would love to do some actual experiments, just change a few variables here and there, compare different runs that PlayFun does with just minor changes in the training data, but the time and processing power to do that is prohibitive. Okay, now I've told you a couple times, both in this video and my last video, that PlayFun is both amazing and terrible at Mario 3, and everything we've seen so far is pretty good. I mean, it's done way better than I expected, but things are about to derail really fast. This is where PlayFun's first run through Mario 3 ended, because for the life of it, it cannot figure out how to get up on top of this obstacle.
I've been trying for 30 whole seconds. I think I need a walkthrough.
You jump onto the note block, and then just as you're hitting the note block, you press and hold A again, and you get a really high bounce off it.
What's that? I wasn't listening. Too busy being awesome at dodging these boomerangs.
This is why I wanted to highlight that it actually did this earlier. I actually didn't even realize that until I was editing this video, that it actually had done it earlier in the run, but for some odd reason, it just can't figure out how to do it here. This has now been sped up 4 times. I just want to sort of give you an impression of how long it actually spent at this. It does eventually lose the mushroom, despite being pretty good at avoiding those boomerangs before that. And then, I love this here. As time keeps progressing, it almost seems to devolve into a state of frustration, just mashing that jump button, punching that note block, just totally lost as to what it's supposed to do.
Stupid game. Who programmed this piece of garbage? I am an advanced AI, clearly capable of besting humans at all games. There is something wrong with this.
Alright, so it's now mid-March. We are not done with Mario 3 yet. I was going to have this all as one video, but I decided to split it into 2 parts because of how long it's getting. My last video was 20 minutes, and I thought that was a little too long. I was pretty impressed with how PlayFun did in its inaugural run, but I wasn't satisfied with the fact that it just got stumped on one obstacle, and that's how the run ended. So I decided to go back and see if I could give it the right training data that it would be able to get past that obstacle in World 1-3. And so I did a whole bunch of different things after this first run of Mario 3 that you just saw. And this is where things really started to unravel. So you don't want to miss the next episode. You really don't. And then after that, the next video is going to be PlayFun taking on five different classic NES fighting games. I decided to introduce the program to an entire genre of game, and I think I'm gonna continue doing that going forward. So let me know what kind of game you want to see PlayFun take on after that, because I want to get it playing all kinds of different games. Do you want to see it try racing games or puzzle games or other platformers that aren't Mario? Eventually, I do want to move on and start working with software that isn't PlayFun, that can play different kinds of games on different systems, or I've got ideas for other types of videos as well. Lots I want to do with this AI Plays series. So let me know of any ideas you have. I'd be glad for them. For now, thanks so much for watching this. Don't forget to slam that like button, subscribe, find all the important links in the description. I bid you farewell, and
I am a clumsy dummy dumb.
What did you just do? What did you... Told you to stop playing with that.